it's very nice to see some fresh faces in the room. Some of us stare at each other all the time at each meeting. So welcome in. This is the school accountability meeting for Mitchell High School, Thursday, October 9th, 2025. We have a pretty short agenda because many of the items on the accountability calendar put out by CDE are, a few of them are more elementary based and not necessary for this level. And also I felt like we had a couple things to discuss that might take some time. So sometimes I shift things around as to month. So I believe Ms. Blackwell passed out the agenda to everyone, has a copy. But Mr. Smith, I would like to actually start at the bottom of the agenda, or next to bottom with the safety concerns.
Okay.
Because we have a student here.
Okay.
Maybe we should start with a student. Sorry.
Mason, are you here to present something? Oh, our student spotlight. You're our student spotlight. Absolutely, 100%. Forgive me. And then actually we'll go into minutes, okay? So, do you want to do the student spotlight or do you want to approve minutes?
I can, well, let's go with the approval of minutes and then we can start into the spotlight after that.
Okay.
So would you like to approve the minutes, co-chairs?
So Sharon put out the September minutes. I'm good with it.
Thank you.
I move. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Actually, for everybody, usually we send out the minutes and they approve them on an email. So by the time we get here, things have been approved.
And also the minutes are posted on the school website as well. So all SAC information, including agendas, minutes, schedules, whatnot, are all or should be available through the website. So I believe Ms. Blackwell and Ms. West worked together on that.
Yes, I don't have the agenda posted right now.
And that's my fault.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Okay. Is the schedule on the website?
I just received a schedule and I have not put on the website yet.
Okay. Every second Thursday at 5 p.m. in this room, unless otherwise noted. All right, Mr. Mason, tell us about yourself and why you're here.
Actually, I'll jump in and I'll introduce the gentleman here. So tonight we have with us a new teacher this year, Mr. Garrett Schwartz, our construction teacher representing CTE, Career Technical Education. Very happy to have him on staff as his presence and employment has been a blessing to us in terms of having the ability to offer construction again at Mitchell High School, which we haven't been able to do for a couple of years at this point. And in our area, a great need, I would say, in terms of offering that instruction. And so a young teacher, both maybe in terms of his tenure, but also in terms of his age, brings a lot of energy and excitement to the program. And so tonight he has with him one of our students, Mason Cherry. And part of the student spotlight is because of the Southern Colorado Construction Days field trip that Mason was part of, that Mr. Schwartz facilitated on Thursday, September 25th, 2025. 8 students participated in the Southern Colorado Construction Career Days field trip. Shannon Abernathy, Kevin Herrera Reyes, Ethan Pete, Anthony Ramirez, Esmond Mateo Villamil, Mason Cherry, and Rico Soto, and Alan Francisco Lujano Rodriguez. They were all able to network with industry partners and participate in hands-on activities. With that being said, now take it away and just give your both student and teacher kind of dialogue around that and anything else that's going on in construction.
Well, I brought Mason. He's a very outstanding student. He's always here on time. He's always doing his projects top of the line. We just finished our first project. Not finished yet. I'm waiting for some materials to show up, but we built a toolbox. Hopefully they can keep him for the rest of their lives. I remember when I was in middle school, I made a gumball machine. I still have it in my garage, and I look at it all the time. So hopefully he can take it with him for the rest of his life. The field trip that we went on was very, I feel like eye-opening to the students. I don't know, there was, I think, 50 different types of careers in construction, in between plumbing, heating, electrical, moving dirt cranes, sky beams. There was so many welding. There was so many different types of industries that kind of showed them what type of options are, other than just swinging a hammer on a roof or being in a basement doing something like that. There's so many different types of construction fields for them to go in. So I was excited to see them. Some of them were like, well, I want to be a welder now. Now I see I like electrical, you know. So that was very cool for me to do. That was my buddy. He told me about it, and he's like, this is going to be excellent for your students. And I was like, sweet, I can't wait. So I really enjoyed it to have that opportunity. We're working in most of my students, I think there's like maybe 10 out of my 125 I think we had, that are safety certified and certified on all the tools to be used. So chop saw, braided alarm saw, table saw, all the drills, they're all certified to do whatever they want. So we're gonna move into some blueprint reading, making their own blueprints. Maybe we're gonna finish up the sheds that are in the classroom, get them out of there, and maybe start some newer sheds hopefully, or some sort of project, I don't know yet. I wanna kind of make it up to the students and what they wanna do, because that's the most important part, I feel like, is what they wanna do. So, if Mason, if you have anything to say about the class or what your experience was on the field trip, you can go for it.
I'm Mason Cherry. I am 11th grade at Mitchell High School. I built this in class today. I definitely learned a lot how to build this over the field trip and from Mr. Schwartz in class. The field trip definitely was eye-opening to me. I got to see that if I don't go to college for baseball, I would want to go to trades for welding or electrical. So construction, I'm glad we have a class, because all my life I heard about wood shop in high school and building a bunch of stuff in high school, and now I get to actually do it. So I'm very excited about that.
Thank you.
Questions for Mason or
Yeah, any questions
Mr.
for me?
Schwartz?
Mr. Schwartz, what is your specialty?
My specialty is kind of everything, but I was a roofer for 10 years of my life right out of high school, and the person that I was under was like my older brother. He taught me everything that I know, from being, presentable to someone. If you show up at a customer's house, the customer's always right. Be positive, shake their hand, that whole aspect of being the business person, and then also doing the construction part. And I learned, I have some electrical background, I have plumbing, I've done everything in my own house. So I've done construction or carpentry, framing. That's kind of my main aspect that I've known. But I have my own handyman business, so if you need it done, I will either, if I don't know how to do it, I will learn very fast how to do it and make it happen. So that's kind of, I never saw myself in a teaching position. As a kid, I was like, oh, I love school, I was always there. And then one day, I got hurt at work, and one of my best friends, he's the recruiter for the students to go from the class to the blue collar field. And he comes in 2 or 3 times a month, sometimes 2 times a month. But he comes in, hangs out with students, gets to know them personally. Then we do resumes, we do apprenticeships, and he gets them out into the field. Like, we have a couple field trips hopefully coming up to go over to an electrical facility for them to kind of see how it is to run in that business. And then that's a good way for them to learn more about a certain trade. But he said there was an opening in Mitchell, and I was like, what do I do to make it happen? So, here I was, I remember sitting in that chair, scared of my mind, in front of all those, I can't even remember who was there, but I just remember I was so scared and they asked me these questions and I was like, I hope that I answered them correctly, and here I am.
You are.
And I love it every day, I enjoy it more, and I learn every day, and the students teach me stuff, and I teach them, and I'm just really, really grateful to be here, so.
We're very fortunate to have you.
Thank you. I have another question. For you, how are you going to learn your welding, Mason?
So I really don't know much about welding, but I did learn over the field trip. I'm gonna apply for trade schools. I have friends that are in the welding industry, so I can learn from them. Really just go through school for it.
If he's interested in welding, that's something we don't really offer in my class. But if it's something that's like, I want to do this, Quinn, he's the CICC, Careers in Construction, he's part of HBA, the Building Association. He will talk to whoever we need, and he will get the students involved in them. And get tours with them, get them into apprenticeships, get them working over the summer with a welder. There's so many opportunities for any student in my class to, or anyone in the school. If they want, you know, if they're not in my class right now and they have an interest in some sort of construction field, whether it's welding or driving a truck or working machinery, whatever it is, you know, there's a mile long, you know, engineers, whatever it is, we can get them that opportunity and get them connected with the right people that they need to talk to.
Well, thank you. Mr. Smith, I hope that you still have that resource for welding. Maybe you can connect Mason. Thank you.
Gentlemen, get some food. You feel free to stay if you want to, but grab some food. If you need to go, take some with you, okay? But thank you for being here.
So we don't have to stay the whole time?
No,
Except
no, you don't have to. You're more than welcome, but at the very least, take
I want to
something.
go back to the volleyball game.
There you go.
I'm enjoying it now.
There we go. There we
We're
go.
doing
But
good, so.
No,
Mason,
thank you.
can I ask you one question first?
Yeah.
Is Mitchell your homeschool?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Good deal.
Thank you,
Yeah,
gentlemen.
thank you for coming.
My homeschool, my dad graduated in '74, so.
There you go.
Wow, wait a minute. So I'm a 73 graduate. Maybe I knew your dad.
Myron Schwartz, he was in the mechanic.
Okay, no,
He's in
totally
mechanics.
different.
Yep. So, cool.
And, well, keep it up, and that's
Yes.
excellent.
Thank you
Yes.
very much for
Thank
letting
you.
us come, and
Thank you, guys.
I will-
Thank you, guys.
Hopefully next time I'll have more than one.
Yeah.
I talked to a bunch of them, they're like, it's our 3-day weekend, I'm not going. Like, okay, I tried.
That's okay.
Thank you, Mason.
We'll take what we get, right? You guys are awesome. Thank
We
you
are
so
not
much.
scary people. Come again.
Take it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
No, actually, that's not true. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Bye.
you.
You.
Yeah, girls are, the volleyball match is going on tonight. It's pink out for cancer awareness, breast cancer awareness, so,
That's where I'm going after this.
yeah. So,
And there's a big track meet tomorrow, cross country.
yeah.
Very nice. Okay. Ms. Brookie, are you here to be the teacher representative on the SAC?
I believe so, for at least for tonight, yeah.
At least for tonight. Okay, all right, excellent. Okay, so I guess we're moving along. So I had on the next to last item on the agenda, safety concerns. So I think we all in this room know that last week there was a serious situation here at Mitchell. So Mr. Smith, can you tell us more about that situation and your perspective?
You're referencing the cell phone that
Yes.
was busted, that had the lithium battery, and then whatever chemicals leaked out from that caused the evacuation.
Yes.
That's pretty much the story. And then we were on evacuation for, I think, over an hour before the environment got cleared by the first responders. And then, yeah, we returned to learning after that period of time. And
So it happened, or it started before school, or, I mean, it took up a lot of the morning, right? So,
yeah, I think we re-entered the building at 9:30, if I'm not sometime around that time frame.
okay.
But yeah, I mean, what was released is essentially what happened. I forget the exact chemicals from a lithium leak that entered into the environment, but yeah, at the end of the day, it was a long evacuation that ended right around 9:30, and we re-entered and finished the day without incident at that point.
Okay. Sharon and Mr. Bibbs, people outside of the building community, do any of you have questions, or did you get the email? I don't know, Sharon and Mr. Bibbs, do you get emails when they come out like that?
We don't get emails that are addressed to parents.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking. Okay. All right. Did EMS have to treat anybody, or?
There was a triage location out in the front for students and staff who were starting to feel symptoms, and so they were treated on site, and depending on whatever the first responders recommended, those individuals either remained at school, were transported to local, facilities that are experts in that area.
Yeah. Did the fire marshal have to come, or was it just the fire truck, or?
A big team of fire, Colorado Springs Fire Department responded, and they are actually the individuals who cleared the environment.
Okay. Did district support come for you and your staff?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Yep. We actually had a big response on that morning from district, fire department, Colorado Springs Police, and I'll give big kudos to the facilities team from D11. They showed up and helped with the mitigation and all, and then the district communications office helped with correspondence as well. So yeah.
So the email that went out, did you write that email that went out to us parents, or did district communications write that?
It was a template received from district communication that I was able to alter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because in that email, and maybe you did this for privacy, but it didn't indicate that anybody had to be treated at all. And I guess this maybe isn't an important detail, although as a parent it is comforting to know that the district was responsible and supportive to you and your staff and did respond, but that also wasn't in there. So I'm asking a lot of these questions because I've gotten some feedback from several sources, including staff and students, that it was a very, very scary time and that the evacuation, the actual physical evacuation, was delayed. So I didn't understand why we would delay an evacuation. And so that's one reason I asked you if it was before school, because I understand that that could be a little tricky as to like, how do we evacuate as a community if we're all scattered and not, in an orderly, scheduled manner. But that's one reason I asked that. So the feedback that I've gotten, because people are pretty upset and we're scared, and apparently it's had a lot of health effects on folks. And so do you have any more to say about that, or?
Well, I don't know that I have more to say about that. I think that in terms of addressing the concerns that you're representing, they're being addressed accordingly per policy and procedure. But you're also using a lot of words like a lot and many, and I don't know exactly in terms of quantity what that actually represents in terms of the population. I know that there has been, what I will validate is that there has been impact on some individuals. What I say a lot or many, I wouldn't necessarily say that. But at this time,
Okay.
Those that have reported or needed to be assessed have done so and have got the medical attention that they see fit based upon their own personal needs. And documents have been filed with the appropriate offices in the district in terms of in terms of those processes.
Okay, and that's fair. I mean, it wasn't like hundreds, right? I don't have hundreds of reports. I guess I should say I have a handful, both of, of reports. So, but it's concerning. And so, I don't know what that means for you and your staff. If we can advocate for you as the SAC, and if we need to ask for more support, or like one comment that was made is there weren't any admin near the triage area that you were speaking of. And so I was going to ask you, how many assistant principals do you have and or security, and do they have assigned stations during an evacuation?
So once again, that's an ambiguous statement. Admin, as I stated before, we had a lot of district response where you could have several of those individuals be considered admin. So exactly in terms of definition, what you're referencing, I'm not sure. But also I would say that's an incorrect statement, because Sam Short was the triage administrator assigned to that area who collected names for entry points, or students and staff entering the triage station, collecting names for tracking, and then also tracking names for release.
Who is that person?
The athletic director.
Thank you.
And
He was there from the very initial outset of the triage station establishment.
And he's considered administration then?
Correct.
Because he's a director.
Correct. But when I say in terms of definition, and you say admin in terms of this ambiguous definition, I would also say that because there was such a response from D11 Central Administration, there were several administrators in the area, but I will say very matter-of-factly that Sam Short, our athletic director and activities director, one in the same, was assigned to that location.
How much time elapsed between the onset of the incident and the time that downtown people were present?
I would have to go back to my notes. We did
Ballpark.
we did do an after-action report that had those timestamps in there. I don't even want to take a guess at this point because I don't have it at the front of my mind, but I could come back with that detail from that after-action report if we're interested in some of those timestamps.
Do they respond automatically? Like when the fire or CSBD is called, do they get that notice as well and they automatically respond? Or does somebody from this building contact them?
It depends. Excuse me. It depends. If it's a planned crisis drill, no. If it is an actual drill, or excuse me, an actual event or incident, which this one was, that's when they get notifications.
From the
Alert
emergency systems?
Yes,
Okay.
Automatically?
automatically.
Thank you.
Mhm. The Informacast is the name of the system.
Okay. All right, well, does anybody else have any other questions or feedback or anything?
I would like to ask this question because I remember back in the day, there were some things that occurred because, chemistry always has something happening, right? And we would be outside and wondering, we knew we had to evacuate, but we didn't know why. And it would be a while, maybe the next day. By the time we knew the story, how quickly did you
What year was
inform?
that?
I'm 100
I'm
years
sorry,
old.
I'm sorry, I'm messing with you. Go ahead. Real answer, we knew pretty quickly what it was once we had fire department on scene, also because of social media and just kids being the kids are more astute to a lot of things that go on, whether it be productive or non-productive. And so immediately we had students who were advocating for the school and providing us with information very quickly about what transpired that led up to the evacuation.
Were they accurate?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And actually it helped in terms of the investigation afterwards to investigate whether there was intentional malintent or accident.
Okay.
And so I don't feel comfortable releasing what the results of that was because of confidentiality. However, I will tell you that the students that made the report and fairly quickly, while we were still evacuating, yes, the reports were accurate, which was then substantiated by surveillance cameras on the interior of the building by where the event took place. And all of this, like I said, once again, could be time-stamped to the second, millisecond, actually, if you wanted to go that deep, based upon the surveillance camera, the time that the evacuation handle got pulled, and the Informacast releasing the evacuation for re-entry. You could timestamp all of that through electronic
Okay.
protocols.
So you feel comfortable that everything is transparent?
I feel extremely comfortable that it's transparent. And once again, those individuals, because again, I don't want to downplay individuals that might have experienced and maybe still are experiencing symptoms that they believe are as a result of that situation. I'm not downplaying that at all.
Good.
I just want to simply be clear that when we use terms such as a lot and many, that's ambiguous. I just want to be very clear, and then I do appreciate Ms. Webb maybe readdressing that and saying a handful. Again, another ambiguous term, but I think what we can say is it does need to be quantifiable, but when we're talking about the facts. And so those individuals that I'm aware of have been encouraged to take care of themselves. They've been allowed to take care of themselves. There's no lack of transparency around that. We're not medical experts here. Those medical experts are providing documentation about return to work. We're receiving that through risk management office. Documents are being handled so that those employees are being taken care of, not only with leave or compensation, whatever the case may be. So I feel extremely transparent. I validate and I appreciate those folks who were in the building that day, and will always tell people to take care of themselves first and their health, because if they can't take care of themselves, how can they take care of students, right? So I feel very comfortable with those folks being transparent. Had a staff member the very next day, actually who works in the library, which is close to where the event took place, or the precipice of where the event took place, at the center, I think is the word I'm looking for. And we proactively brought the fire department back to do a second scan the very next day to make sure that all levels were normal.
That's important. That's important, because I just need to get a little clarity that despite the fact that a term might be ambiguous, if there is one person who is concerned, you will be on it and not discounting it. Yes? Thank you.
Yes.
So I'd like to jump in here because I also have received concerns from teachers. And the biggest concern was the fact that it might have happened about 7:30, and there might have been 15 or 20 minutes that everybody was still in the building where we had to listen to the announcements and the pledge before we were evacuated.
So I got a statement that said somebody entered the building close to 7 o'clock and already smelled smoke and didn't think anything of it for a few minutes. Like, I think they said 10 minutes max. And then they went to investigate. And then I got a different statement that somebody went to the office and was like, hey, something is sparking, smoking, and flaming. We need to get out of here. And the response was, we've got to do the pledge and the announcements first, which in my school doesn't happen until about somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes after the bell. So if somebody smelled smoke 5 minutes, give or take 1 or 2 from 7 o'clock, and then the alarm was not pulled until around 7:40, that's somewhere between 25 and 35 minutes. So I don't understand that. If we know there's smoke in the building and or sparks, why did we wait?
Well, I would say, how do we know that for certain?
How do we know that there was
conducted
smoke
that
and flames?
Who conducted that investigation in this room?
So I can say, since I was a teacher up on that second floor, the smell was definitely very, very, very strong, well before the start of the school day. I also know that I had another teacher come up to me that day and say, there's smoke down there, should I pull the fire alarm? And I asked him if security was down there. He said they were, and I assumed because security was down there that it was being taken care of and handled appropriately. And this was about 5 to 10 minutes before, like that probably would have been about time students were walking into my classroom for the first time that day.
So, well, you bring up two good points. Assuming is bad, and also I would say everybody is entitled to pull the fire alarm.
And
Do
then-
the staff all know that?
I would hope so. I don't know, I can't speak for every staff member, but I would hope so.
Maybe that can be clarified.
Yeah, we
in
we
the-
could clarify that. I mean, if anybody is, I mean,
They're asking
I mean,
each
I
other,
think in
should I
the general
pull the-
population, if somebody's under a cardiac arrest, I think anybody in here would assume that you could grab an AED and go and start doing first response attention if you're
I think
capable
part of
of
the
doing that.
confusion though was that like, because security was there, the fire alarm would have already been pulled. So like the confusion,
Who assumed that though?
I mean, staff in the upstairs levels, and I don't want to name names.
Okay.
It was,
But
Well,
it's
and I
not
can
an
appreciate that.
Not
assumption.
an
If
assumption
they
if
put
they see the
eyes on
person.
security, it's not an assumption.
Well, I think it's an assumption that you're assuming that somebody else is going to pull it regardless of what uniform or outfit they're wearing or what their title is.
I mean, I think that speaks to a level of trust for the security staff though, that they would handle this situation appropriately, given that they were downstairs next to the bathroom. And so like the confusion came, like, there's smoke, I should pull it, security is not, and they're right there. So,
And so I think your assumption is
Valid.
yeah, is valid and it makes sense to me. If you're asking me why it wasn't, I don't have an answer for that at that point, but
So
we
maybe
could
the
definitely.
suggestion is protocol should be reviewed.
Right, well, and it has, we did, like I said earlier, we did an after action review. Could it have been pulled earlier? Clearly it could have. Right? Why it wasn't by security or anyone else?
Because security has radios. I mean, to radio someone and say, hey, you know, we should evacuate the
Sure,
building instead of
yeah.
waiting for a teacher upstairs to
Yeah.
pull the alarm. I mean, we wouldn't assume that.
Well, maybe not. A student could have pulled it that day and been just fine and been valid, or been actually maybe even honored for doing that. But it just, again, you can slice it, dice it, look at it any way you want to. At the end of the day, is the argument is, could it have been pulled sooner? I think there is a definite answer. Yeah, it could have been. Why it wasn't, that's still up for debate.
And I
That's
think
part
that's
of
the
that.
question, is that if
Yeah.
it happened at 7:30, why were we waiting until announcements and the pledge?
Mhm.
If staff smelled it and or saw it before the majority of students were in this building, students, in my opinion, as an educator and a parent, is that students should not have been allowed to continue to enter till we determined what it was and what to do about it. My other concern as a parent is, and I have not spoken to this student and parent directly yet, it's all been writing and around the bush so far, but I know this family, or how, I know who they are to contact, but the parents were not contacted when that student was treated until much, much later. Now, I understand if we're using an ADT on a kid and it takes 5 or 10 minutes to contact somebody about, that absolutely the treatment is first and foremost. But
Well-
why would we wait 3 hours when your kid's been treated?
Once again, I can't get into every detailed circumstance. I am not aware of the instance you're talking about. I haven't heard about that until tonight. I would also say, let's be clear about treatment versus assessment. That's going to be very important to keep in mind. Assessing is what happens in a triage station, not treatment per se.
Sure.
But to your point, in terms of parent notification, yeah, I don't know about the specific instance you're talking about, but many students were contacting their parents off of their own phones and were allowed to do so in the triage center.
Okay, so that opens a whole nother can of worms for us. So first, let me just say, my sense has been, I've kept a pulse on this for a week now, and it's a lot of people from the building community are upset, I think is a fair word, and that can have several reaction faces to it, right? But about last week and how it was or was not handled. Both from parent, staff, and student perspective. So that's your feedback, that you have an unhappy community. And so if those of us who are not in this building all day, every day, can support the building community in whatever you need for next time, that's our job as the accountability committee. But we got to figure this out because it was a disaster.
I'm not quite sure why people are unhappy. I would have to have that information first to then accept the
I
offer
think
that
you
you're
got
proposing.
some. You had some.
What's that?
The teachers were unhappy with the initial response.
The immediate response. Yeah.
And so apparently, from what I'm hearing from Alyssa, there's a family, at least one family, that's not happy with the communication about their student. So those are just bits of information that you
Yeah.
can process.
And are you okay if I add something to this as well? I feel like one of a thing that I have heard commonly repeated is that there is no communication to staff about symptoms to look out for in students. There is no communication about if the student's having a migraine or coughing or wheezing, send them down to the health office, have them contact their parents. There is no communication to us about how we could support our students when we were sent back into the building. And there's no communication to parents to look out for possible symptoms, as far as I'm aware, over the next 24 to 48 hours.
100%. And part of that is because you don't, as far as I'm aware, you still don't have a health tech, right? And your nurse is not here every day. Was the nurse on site the rest of that day?
She arrived later that day, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, that's good if she was here. So back to the who can pull the fire alarm and when situation.
Anybody.
And then you just said, right? So, but let's think about that. So students convey to staff, hey, this is what's happening. But even staff were unsure if they could do that. So how could students be sure if they could do that? And then you said students were contacting their adults from the triage area, but those blasted yonder pouches, I mean, so how did they get those unlocked if they had the phone in the yonder pouch?
Yeah.
So that's a whole.
Well, you just answered your question.
Right. We can assume that they were not in the yonder pouch. However, so then are they going to be in trouble for not having it in the pouch? Or if they did have it in the pouch, who's around that can unlock it for them? And are you going to be able to solve, is it going to be picture perfect? Not at all. Not everybody knows that. But it was kind of a wreck and a lot of people are upset. So,
Okay.
These are all good considerations.
if you need us to, help clarify with security, if you need the DAC to come in, if you want to do mini trainings with security and then staff and then clarify the blurry lines with students, whatever you need to do, we can support that. But we're also here to say, I'm here to say, because I directly got these statements,
Okay.
that people are upset.
I believe you. I'm not arguing with you.
Yeah,
How
so,
serious are the symptoms, do we know like scientifically what this smoke can do, or, I don't wanna get,
it's the lithium in the air and the chemicals that
okay.
stick to other materials around in the
Okay.
environment.
Hey, what? Okay.
It's the lithium and other chemicals that
Okay.
stick to other materials around in the environment that causes a long-term effect. I mean, just like
Okay.
the big thing these days is, what's that stuff that's in floor tiles and ceiling tiles?
Asbestos.
Asbestos, right? So,
Talk about that.
right,
That's
so-
serious, right?
Right,
That
and
is
so
serious.
if that was to be cracked, opened, chipped, whatever, at all altercated, it would be a big deal because that stuff has long-term effects, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we didn't know that 70 years ago when they used it in everything. But we do know that now about asbestos, and we do know that about lithium, and we do know that lithium batteries are the fastest and strongest explosion. So it wasn't the chemistry lab. It could have been worse, actually.
Could have been worse.
Could have been worse. So,
Everything is a learning opportunity.
yeah. And so I hope nobody in the room feels, Mr. Smith, completely attacked, but you have to know what the pulse in the community is, and then reach out and depend on us to help settle the dust, whatever that is, clarify whatever you need, like totally willing to do that too.
Thank you.
Yeah. If we're done with that particular safety issue,
Are you done with it?
I mean, if y'all want to keep beating the horse, that's cool.
Mr. Bibbs, were you going to say something?
I was. I'm pleading the fifth right now.
Okay. Can you explain one more thing, two more things to me? One more. We'll stick with one more thing.
Possibly.
Okay. I also have heard something about, and I don't, you probably have a perfectly good reason for this. I have no idea, so I'm asking you. What the situation with the golf cart is after school, that it's a school golf cart apparently, but apparently ends up off school property like every day, practically every day in different areas.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that?
We are working with community partners, namely the apartments across the street, as we've been asked to help keep students who have been found partaking in illegal activities over there out of areas where they should not be loitering, both on the corner of San Miguel and Potter, at the church, as well as the apartments across the street. So we're actually working in cooperation with our community partners to keep the area policed to the best of our ability, so that our students are hopefully, demonstrating the accept core values that we want to in other areas that aren't specifically on campus. And we met with the manager with the apartments across the street not too long ago, and that was a request, and we said, yeah, we would love to help out with that.
So the golf cart just gets people there faster.
Mobile,
Thank
yeah,
you.
Mobility, increases mobility and speed. and
But it's
efficiency.
after school hour or outside, I shouldn't say after, outside of school hours, is that right?
I don't know what you're referencing.
Outside of school hours, so outside of 7:15 to 3:30.
I don't know if we are on golf carts all the way to 3:30, but possibly. I don't know. I don't
Okay.
have a timestamp on it every day.
I'm just asking because, again, for your best interest, actually, more than students who complain, is that going to be accepted, I guess is the word? Like, is one of your community partners CSPD? So clearly we don't have enough police officers in the city. So have they agreed to, let you do that? I guess I'm asking because, again, if I'm, a neighbor in the apartments and I'm like, why do those school people keep bothering these kids outside of school hours, right? And I feel like you're, quote, bothering them. And if there is a perfectly good reason, like, hey, don't do these illegal activities and represent our school, but it's outside of school hours, so shouldn't that be the police's job, is what I'm getting to. So, again, it's a question.
My opinion?
I guess.
I guess
or
I could
what
give
you
you
were
my
told.
opinion.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
I think, I think no matter what uniform, clothing, title you are, everybody's a leader, everybody's a community member. Why can't we all police the community together?
Okay.
Is it the responsibility primarily of a law enforcement officer? I mean, I guess we could say that. But when a community partner reaches out to us and says, hey, your kids are engaging in some illegal activities and there's a pregnant mother inside this rented apartment, could you help us out? We have them on camera, we've identified them, we go, yeah, absolutely, we wouldn't mind helping out, because we don't want our school represented in that fashion. We're continuing to fight the narrative that Mitchell is a ghetto school, and that we don't know how to behave and conduct ourselves. And so in terms of helping to change that narrative. We want to help the community members out that ask us for our assistance, and we feel that being mobile on a golf cart is a great use of that resource.
Of that equipment. And the other benefit to that is, it just left my head, I was gonna give you another benefit, that you have the relationship possibly with the students involved, right? Which NCSPD or apartment management or whatever
The
entity
pastor on
they're
the
at
corner.
does not, right? So that would be a benefit.
Absolutely.
And you're absolutely right. We're still fighting that persona of Mitchell all the time. So again, I'm asking this is an open conversation because everybody's got a different perspective, right?
Well, you mentioned students complaining. Are those the students who are engaging in the illegal activity?
No,
Okay.
no.
So
I
then why
think-
would a student complain about us helping to eliminate illegal activity and loitering?
Again, because I think it's the information, just like Sharon said, did they know why they were evacuated? And Ms. Brookie said, do we know what to look for afterwards, right? So I think students who are not involved, but live in the area and see this cart moving around all the time are like, that is a school cart. Why are these school staff like tootling around all the time? And you have a perfectly good reason, right? So we asked you have a perfectly good reason, but those kids don't know that. And is it their business? Not necessarily. But what can we tell them? Hey, we're helping to get a good message about we want to keep or find a good message in the neighborhood about Mitchell.
Yeah.
Right?
and-
That's all they need to know.
No, and I appreciate that feedback in terms of messaging and saying, hey, this is what our intent is. That's not a problem, you know. And so maybe that hasn't been messaged as transparently as it could. I definitely received that message. I'm curious has there been any positive feedback of the golf cart and tooling around?
Not to me yet.
But I can give you a written document of appreciation from the apartment manager.
Yeah, well, and absolutely, right? I mean, if I was the apartment manager or the renter, I would appreciate it.
I was going to say,
For
I
sure.
wonder if the woman that is pregnant
Yeah.
that had to inhale the marijuana smoke is appreciative that her baby's not becoming intoxicated.
Absolutely. And you have the CSPD connections if it was to come to that, right? So there truly are enough benefits. So this is why I'm asking you. I didn't assume anything. But I feel like this is why we're here, right? We want to have open, transparent communication about what's happening, how the community feels, and what your reasons are. Because yes, absolutely, you and whoever else is doing that with you has perfect good intentions and has been asked to do it. You're following through with your community's needs. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's
Thank
good.
you. No, that's
Are the
good.
kids disciplined for hanging out in those apartments? Is the police called? Is the resource
Yes.
officer
All the above.
involved? Security? I
Yes,
mean,
all the
what
above.
disciplines are taking place? Are the kids suspended? What's happening?
We follow the progressive discipline model that's in the handbook that's on the website that we've been following since 2021. It has been adapted and updated annually. We do work in concert with our school resource officer, who's very supportive. And depending on the individual students, we don't consequence by group, we consequence by individual. And according to that individual's status on the progressive discipline model, they are assigned consequences that are appropriate, whether it be at the school level or the law enforcement level.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions or feedback, comments?
Well, I would like to provide comments about the golf court being on campus and roving.
Mhm.
Transportation appreciates it. Some of our parents who have students who are in our SPED department appreciate the fact that their students are getting on the bus or getting into transportation in a timely manner, because those of us who are on radio, myself specifically, if I receive a call from transportation, our radio, they drop the kid's last name, where they at, that student is found on that bus, that's the bus leaves and departs on time. Same thing with our regular transportation route. If I get a call from transportation and the bus is waiting a little bit longer, put a call out to the radio. Those who are on the golf cart, rotate to the campus, soliciting or reminding students, route so-and-so is going to leave. If you're on that bus, please get there, and they can leave and depart on time.
Absolutely.
That's been a win
Yeah,
from the transportation department.
yeah.
And I'll just add, outside of, because we've been focusing on more of the like supervision component of that, it was also purchased for the intent of quick mobility and transport of different things, athletic events popping from field to field as well. And so when there's a ball game or something happening outside, our athletic trainer, our athletics and activities director can transport water quickly, and some of that happens as well, in addition just to the supervision component of it.
So is that purchased out of the athletic budget or the general fund?
Oh, I do believe that came out of the general fund last year. Yes, last year's budget.
And so the buses and the athletic needs absolutely puts that cart to good use. But again, I think that's where the whining come from, right? The athletes are whining because they're like, hey, that's our cart. We need our water, or our coach is late, or we forgot our equipment, or whatever. And the other people are like, I'm just over here, you know, I see these staff over at the gas station or the church or the apartments or wherever all the time. Why are they using our school cart for that? So again, you have a good reason, but that's where the whining come from, because they're just like, that's a school cart. It should be used for school things. And they don't know. They just don't know. And that's fine. But I'm just saying again.
Is it just one?
Just one.
Mhm.
I only
Can I buy
had
another one?
I only had funds for one last year. They're not cheap. They're not cheap.
Yeah.
They're not cheap. Yeah.
No, Mr. Smith, I'm glad to know you're not going to play golf at the apartments or
Oh, you
something
don't
like
want to see
that,
me
right?
play golf.
So,
I say often, I don't play golf, golf plays me, so you don't want to see that. It's ugly.
okay.
The ball doesn't stay straight very often.
All right, so those were the two safety concerns I guess I had for tonight, unless anyone has anything else.
Nope.
No.
Anybody else?
The last item on the agenda includes safety, but it also includes attendance, behavior, and discipline. So since we've sort of touched on those things, can we do that one next?
Yes.
Well, we have a lot of old business too.
Do we?
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Then let's do old business. Mr.
Yes.
Bibbs, what's your vote? You want to do old business?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
So we will have to table the future center operations. I am suggesting that we invite Valerie Skates and Lisa Montez to the next meeting, who heads up and leads the future center, future ready courses here
Thank you.
at, you
Yeah.
want that? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know if I have enough copies. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, if you don't mind doing that. What you're gonna see, so I'll finish my thought. I think it would be advantageous to invite Val Skates, who is our post-secondary workforce readiness manager, and Lisa Montez, who is our college and career counselor, to the next meeting. If you would like me to do that, we can decide upon that tonight. And they could, those ladies could come and speak to the future center operations and how that is coordinated. Is that a yes for the next
Yes.
meeting
Yes.
on that one?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then what you have in your hands right now is the fall district assessment scores for the Renaissance Star benchmark assessment. And so that first page, you're going to see trend data from last fall to this fall for both math and reading. And so you'll see this is pretty consistent over the last couple of years, which is the beginning year data starts off pretty low and ends pretty high, because STAR, once again, you have to remember, is growth data. And so we at Mitchell High School have repeatedly demonstrated over 50% MGP as a staff, as we are focusing on reading and mathematics. And so you will see this year we fell, well, the beginning of the fall data, which is what the agenda says, we are definitely below.
This is ninth grade?
This is 9th, 10th, and 11th
All of the
aggregate data. The first 2 pages. When you flip the pages, you will start to see data for
Broken out.
the grade levels
Disaggregation.
for reading and math. And so, as it tends to be, there's a lot of work to do to shrink the tail, which is the red. It's actually on the right. And then grow the head, which is the green, which is on the left. And so, great work to do again this year because our students continue to come in under grade level. We service obviously 9th, 10th, and 11th graders, and our students in ELA and mathematics are regularly coming in at 5th, 6th grade levels. And so remediation as well as acceleration is greatly needed. And so that's what we continue to focus on at Mitchell as we continue to move the work forward.
Looks like the kids coming in for ELA are higher,
That's exactly right.
but the ones for math, lower.
Which is,
Significantly lower.
which in terms of some
I feel for you.
context,
It's a climb, guys.
what'd you say,
It's a
Ricky?
climb.
Yeah, which is interesting because, yeah, with the adoption of Eureka Math and that that curriculum, yeah, we're hoping that students are going to start coming more well prepared. Now, middle school uses Eureka adopted curriculum, and at the high school level, we use Envision Savis, and our teachers are learning that as well in how to implement that curriculum. And then on the ELA side, the middle school curriculum it's slipping my mind, but it's not the same as ours, which is HMH. Does anybody recall the
I don't
name of
remember the
that?
name, but it's really nice.
CK?
Yeah, CKLA.
Yeah, CKLA.
So,
Now, one thing I think is super exciting is that isn't this year the middle schools, aren't they putting in some sort of accountability?
Terry, do you have a charger on you? I'm about to lose battery.
If not, I have.
Matthew, did you get one?
Yeah.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I'm sorry.
So this year, they're implementing at the middle school level some sort of accountability for students. Am I right?
I've heard that at the board level. I'm not sure in terms of implementation or execution on that, but I have heard that. I've heard it being tossed around. Thank you, sir.
I'm hoping that will help,
Thank you.
because, as you know, in middle school, they could fail every single class,
Right.
every single year, and they still get promoted to middle school.
Okay.
I mean, high school, social promotion. They're supposed to be putting in accountability now this year at middle school. So perhaps they will get up to grade level or at least show some growth because they'll be held accountable. I believe
The
at some,
students will be held accountable?
Yes,
Or will
I
there be
believe-
blowback on the teachers?
it's supposed to go, well, it's a little bit of
Yeah, it's
both.
both, absolutely.
Because I think there's a lot of record keeping that needs to be handled. I don't know all those details, but I do know at some point, if they don't pass, they would have to go to summer school. And that has
Good.
not been a requirement before
Good.
either. Wow, is exactly right.
That would be nice.
So
About
that's
time.
why we get these kids who are so
Exactly.
low, because they know they don't have to really achieve at middle school, but then once they get to high school, we expect them to achieve.
And speaking to that regard, that is part of the uphill battle we have with freshmen when they first come in, is they've never been held accountable, so they don't do the work, they don't understand that it builds. It's not just teaching them math or teaching them language arts, it's teaching them you are accountable for your grades at this point. It's a
Yeah,
lot.
there's a lot. There's executive functioning, there's study skills, study habits, there's proficiency levels, mastery levels that need to be determined. There's language barriers. There's disabilities that have to be. I mean, there's a lot, right? Like,
Yeah.
so we know that if we're in education, we know this. Community members oftentimes hear a lot about this, but what I will say in terms of our math department, in terms of trend over the last 4.25 years, our math department has performed very well, specifically on growth. And the reason why I'll revisit the celebration that we've talked about in previous meetings and in other settings with staff and community members is the fact that we went from turnaround up to priority improvement this year. And a great reason for that, if you are aware and familiar with the data on the SPF, the school performance frameworks, is because of the work of the math department. And the focus, 100%. And the focus from all teachers to be teachers of literacy and mathematics in any content area. So, Brookie, her teams to be commended. The teachers that were here before and had to leave for different reasons should be commended. But there's great traction at Mitchell High School with mathematics, and we are building traction with ELA in terms of the vertical pipeline. As you can see, the ninth graders are coming in a bit more prepared in terms of literacy. So,
Sounds as though everything old is new again.
say,
Everything old is new
Yeah.
again. Students used to be held accountable. There was summer school if you didn't pass your classes. Now, do you know if the district is going to have the parents pay for summer school?
I can't speak to any of that. Like I said, I'm gonna let you speak in just a minute, Mr. Bibb, but to Marcia's, Miss West's comment, I've heard personally the conversations around accountability at the board level, how the logistics and how that's gonna be executed. I think there's a lot of discussion to be had.
Yes.
Yes.
I like that.
Who do you, even before it gets here, so y'all don't have to handle that problem, where do we start, where do we talk? Because that kids are being pushed, and then y'all are coming into the school, and it's making your job harder. Somebody needs to be held accountable for what's going on. So where do we start? Who do we go to? I mean, besides the board. I mean, if I go to the board, where is this coming from? I'm not coming at you.
No.
It's coming from the outside because it's coming in and it's making. They're coming in expecting you guys to
You're right.
educate these students, but then somebody's not being held accountable for below average, and then y'all are held accountable when they're not up to par where they're supposed to be.
Yep. And to jump in on there, I was a middle school teacher for 27 years. And for 25 of those years, I complained about that exact same thing. I emailed the board, I talked to superintendents and said, if we continue to pass these kids along when they don't do anything, we are not doing them any favors. And the response was always, research shows it does more harm than good to retain them. And I always want to know, well, what is the research about those kids who do nothing and continue to be pushed forward? Do they ever graduate? So that's a whole huge thing that's been going on for decades.
And I will say an interesting sidebar too, I know this is probably going to get derailed, but when the CMAS scores came out this year for elementary schools, I went and I looked at them because I've got kids here in D11 as well, and I was curious how their school performed. So while I was there, I looked at feeder schools into middle schools. It goes all the way down. Middle schoolers are probably saying the same thing about the elementary schools.
Right.
Where's the accountability in the elementary schools?
Right.
The CMAS scores were not good for the feeder schools into Mitchell.
Well, that we know.
Well,
Accountability is a
decades.
four-legged stool, in my opinion. Parents, you have community partners, you have teachers, and in teachers I would also include any staff member, administrators in that as well, or ESP. And then the other one is the students. So everybody has accountability. Everybody's culpable for these outcomes. It's a systemic problem. We all realize that. But I think in terms of system, the conversations that are being had, at least, well, you said what's old is new again.
Yes, having all the disciplines teach math and language arts within all of the disciplines, that's old. It's coming back, thank goodness. I'm
So,
old.
yeah, how we can implement it to benefit, again, I'm being biased and selfish, Mitchell High School, I'm interested to see how that plays out, What I will say in terms of a different strategy that we're taking at Mitchell is we've allocated FTE to a math dedicated interventionist to help with the remediation portion of that, while the the teachers work on becoming more familiarized with the new curriculum and implementation of that curriculum, so we can get both the acceleration on the back side and the remediation on the front side.
So how is that working with the remediation? How does that, are the kids being pulled out of a class, or
Yeah.
are they?
We were doing push in for a little bit, but it was a bit disruptive.
Oh.
I mean, to be honest, there's so many students that need the remediation. It was being like entire
Yeah.
classes of push-in intervention, which wasn't as effective as we had hoped.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of pullout of small groups, large groups, based off of skill deficits from STAR math or the progress learning, math
Mhm.
scores and stuff.
And then in association with that, or in tandem with that, we're using the Ed Ready system for both acceleration for students who are preparing for college, and then the remediation on the back end too, to help fill in the gap. So we've got a lot of things going to address it at the level we can address it at. Again, the data, the historical data it's going to suggest that we'll have a great growth at the end in the spring. So we're hopeful that remains consistent, but the fall scores are very telling about, again, the systemic dysfunction in terms of student preparation entering into high school.
I will say there's been a lot of positive student feedback on the math changes. Last year, or this year, after the STAR assessment was administered, 94 students actually personally reported to me they appreciated the improved and changed format. They also appreciate the Ed Ready, and I guess PBIS isn't the right term, but the incentives for the Ed Ready completion. And then also the accountability, coming into high school. They want to understand, right? They get frustrated and they get upset because I don't get it. But when they're being pulled to a different room and it's explained to them,
Yes.
oh, that's what Miss Standard was talking about. I get it now, right? That feels good to them, and we're getting, at least I'm hearing in the student body, positive feedback around that.
That's awesome. I don't know how many other high schools are using, because really a dedicated math and literacy interventionist is really an elementary concept, but we have elementary proficiency, and so therefore that's why I made the decision to bring in or use that FTE for that position, and we have a highly qualified staff member, Dr. Briggs, who's filling that role at this time, and she's doing a phenomenal job. And good, that's great feedback, Matthew, from a student voice about that. But it's a elementary model that we're not having to, I guess, but choosing to apply at a high school level. And it seems to be going well.
Yeah, because you know what? Sometimes let's use the KISS method. Keep it simple,
Yeah.
right? And the oldies are the goodies. So absolutely, we have to start from the base and work our way up. So if that's the model you got, then, and it's going good, let's do it. They don't have to know it's, quote, elementary.
Cat's out of the bag.
Nah. I kept a student the other day. He was almost 15 minutes late to lunch because he wanted to argue with me about reading, and he couldn't do it and wasn't going to do it. And I said, well, sorry, we got to finish this before we can go to lunch. And the rest of the class left with somebody else, and he and I sat there till he was done. So I'm like, sorry. And at our house, the lights go out at a certain time, and if you didn't budget your time well and you still have work to do, sorry, that's how you chose to budget your time, but it's lights out. Is that true, sir?
Yes.
So, the accountability, absolutely, 4 legs all the way around.
Awesome.
What other old?
So that would satisfy old business, at least 50% of it.
Is there, what else was in there?
So new graduation requirements, academic attendance, discipline concerns.
No, but for old business? Is
Well,
that all?
old business we've finished.
Yeah, all done.
Well, we're
Okay.
tabling
Right,
one item.
I
okay.
did have a question. When are you guys doing your parent-teacher conferences? What week or what days you're doing it?
The 20th,
The 20th?
the 20th all day.
Okay.
Is it not the 15th as well?
No, just the
No.
20th for us.
Okay.
And then
all
we're
So
right.
you're
gonna,
not doing the 15th and the 16th?
we're gonna do, the 20th in the fall and another day in the spring.
Okay. Oh, and you're doing,
Mhm.
okay. Yeah, because,
Okay, let me rephrase. Not necessarily the spring, second semester.
we're doing the 15th and the 16th from 3 to 7 and then the 20th all day at Keller. So I'm not attending the DAC meeting on the 16th.
So this is Miss Rebecca, right?
Yes.
Now, so let me ask you first, Mr. Smith, are you gonna have district interpreters here for, conferences or?
We're gonna have a variety of interpreters. We have an intern,
Uh-huh.
who we are requesting that, we're gonna request that she's gonna be here. She just is phenomenal, knows our community, and it is on site often. And then, we already have confirmation from Colorado College students who are bilingual that come and help in our after-school tutoring program, who are gonna come down on that afternoon. In the morning, a mix of, various staff members who are volunteering to help with that, who are bilingual, as well as some district interpreters. So we kind of have this conglomerate that we're gonna have on that particular day.
And the MLL department already sent out an email if you need additional virtual translators. I guess they have. We're using me and another person at Keller.
Perfect. That's new, but we have a phenomenal and fully staffed CLDE department finally, which is great. And the department chair is Beate Silva, and she should be commended. She has improved Mitchell High School with her expertise and knowledge just tremendously, and is really proactive in her approach.
She's good.
Yeah.
She's good.
Yep, 100%.
I have one more question for you, Mr. Smith, and then a question to the accountability members. So when is the 5E survey, the first one,
Good question.
or the parent one?
Good question.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Is it might be second
It's
semester.
supposed to be, so the window, we have, the window starts, I do believe, the week of the 20th. I'm
That's what
looking
I
at my
thought.
calendar right now, and is open until November 13th, I believe. Let me double check this.
So while you pull that up to verify, what I'm thinking, committee, is, are any of you available to be here on the 20th to promote SAC and or support parent participation with that 5E survey?
I cannot.
Yeah, you're doing Keller.
Yeah.
5 Essential Survey that I have available to me is open on the 20th, which is our day of parent-teacher conferences, and closes on November 13th.
Okay, so,
Are your conferences all day on the 20th?
Yes.
Yes.
well, and all day means what? 7 to 3, 7 to 7?
7 to 4.
7
Or
to 4?
8 to 4.
8 to 4. Okay.
I'll be here at the 20th.
Will you be here at 7? Because I won't be.
8, it starts at 8.
8.
Mhm.
I'll be here at 10.
I have to teach. So then with that in mind, what is the plan for executing the 5E survey?
We have to have, well, the initial plan is to have it offered during the parent-teacher conferences, and have QR codes, stations, have staff members direct folks to those stations,
Okay.
have staff who are presenting, teachers at the various tables have QR codes available.
Okay,
That's how we are anticipating promoting that.
okay.
Has to be opened up.
That's what I was hoping you would say.
Yes.
And so again, if we could have a station near us and we could help or encourage it or whatever, and then Sharon and Mr. Bids, if you guys are gonna be here and we could show parents things like this, again, to help with that persona of Mitchell and show what SAC does. I mean, this is a perfect tool about, these are the things we talk about at SAC. So that's an idea. If you have other materials, we could talk about it too. So,
The cool thing, since we kind of gone to parent-teacher conferences, Some of you may have or may not have seen or heard about the Parent Academy that we're offering. And so you've seen that, Joe?
I saw the email. I think you sent us,
Yep.
somebody sent us an email. Yeah.
Yep. Yes, or I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before.
You got it? Yeah.
But we've already gotten responses. Not a great deal. We'll send it out a number of times. It's going to also be advertised in the weekly newsletter, but offering sessions that address PSAT SAT, sessions that talk about the Future Center, Future Ready, and what's the other one? Oh, My Power Hub, which is the parent portal. And so we are offering that, sign up times, running that throughout the day from various individuals in tandem with the parent teacher conferences that will be held arena style that we've been doing.
But you have the window open for the surveys in November, you said?
I have on my calendar October 20th through November 13th.
Okay, 'cause-
But the parent teacher conferences is a nice day to get a
Yes.
good handful of
Yes.
those folks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
That's a good push. And then also in terms of collecting maybe some responses from parents, I want to put QR codes and be more proactive about parents coming into the attendance office to check students in, check students out, and then for entry at different events like ball games or whatever throughout that window.
So we have a few more items on the agenda. New graduation requirements, academics, attendance, and discipline concerns, the strike, and community corner news. Where would you like to go in the last 4 minutes?
So I feel like we've touched on a lot of that as far as attendance and behavior, and I mean.
Didn't.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay. Mr. Bibbs, do you have a preference?
I was thinking more in terms of, you said the strike, and I kind of heard some concerns of, I mean, even far as with them coming into school and the preparation for students. I had like mixed emotions because I only heard one side. You know, I had heard what the board was saying, but I really want to get with you guys. I know you're in charge on the line. I want to kind of play the mediator. Because my thing is this: if we don't we can talk about grades, we can talk about grade average, but if you don't have the passion to want to be here, how do we expect the students to function? So I just wanted to kind of get with you guys, maybe decide on what we can do to talk to the board, talk to some of the teachers, and try to come to a common ground.
So you think that the teachers don't have the passion to?
No, I didn't, no, that's, no. What I'm saying is, let me understand what I'm saying. If you're not happy, in the, you know, where you're at, it's hard for you to have, that. Not saying that you don't have the passion.
Right.
So my concern is to get you guys to have the passion and find out what we can do as a SAC, to go to the board and talk to the board and talk and try to help so we can come to a common ground, because.
So it really boils down to three things.
Yeah.
Number one, we want a contract. You know, they severed our master agreement, and we want a contract. We want to negotiate and collaborate as part of the contract. We do not have that with the handbook. They have a small group, maybe not small, but a small group of teachers on the handbook committee, but really they are only giving feedback in. They have no power to help co-create, and that's really what collaboration is.
So I know, so what I'm trying to get understanding, so it's more, you want, because what I was hearing, what I'm hearing is more like about a union and being secure. But even if we cannot get them to get the union, these are the kind of things that you guys are wanting, and do you feel that they're being transparent? Do you feel that, you know, that's all, because what I'm getting, they're feeling that they're being transparent. But like I said, we just need this to come, because it's not just Mitchell now, this is a whole.
It's the whole
district,
district, absolutely.
And so my concern is that I want you guys, you know, I'm not saying that you guys are not passionate. I'm not saying that.
Is a
they're-
better word job satisfaction?
Yeah, just being comfortable where you're at liberty where you can teach and feel comfortable.
That's,
Well, I feel comfortable where I'm teaching,
Yeah.
and I feel fine with what I'm doing. And I'm there for the kids. That's all I'm doing.
And that's my point.
So are they.
Everybody's here, and at the end of the day.
And I'm not saying that they're not. I'm saying that I'm comfortable and I'm happy with what I'm doing, even though it's only part-time. But I'm speaking for myself, and there are other teachers that also feel the same way. Not everybody is in the union. Not everybody agrees with what the union is doing, but what the union wants, they want the contract, they want the master agreement back. But I thought that the president of the union participated in the development of the staff handbook.
absolutely not.
That's what I thought.
That's absolutely not. They asked for input. They never got a chance to co-create
They
it.
didn't,
No.
they were not in the
It was-
committee.
They could be in the committee, but the committee was not part of co-creation. They gave the handbook and said,